Hello, welcome back to my channel. So, if you guys are new here, I am here every Wednesday 7 p.m. in 2025. At least Wednesday 7 p.m. just to talk about things and just to hang out. Anyway, today I want to talk about being alone, but not in a sense physical alone. That too, but I feel it's more about being alone and left by your spiritual team, like not having a relationship with God or the universe, not having this divine connection, and not believing in that sometimes. I feel like I've went through a lot of things in 2024. For example, I'm talking about 2024 a lot because I think people can basically just watch the documentary for 2024. I call it the documentary, but it's just like vlogs, daily vlogs for 5 days a week. So I guess like there is something that people can reference it to. Like if they want to watch the whole playlist, they can. And so it's much more accountable in terms of it's written in my brain because I recorded it. If 2025, I don't record a lot of my thought process, so um, I don't remember it. So if I record it, I remember it because when 24, I recorded a lot of it 5 days a week, so I remembered a lot of it. I think 2024 was a lot of moments where I was just screaming at the ceiling because I'm just saying to God, like, they kept saying that I'm not doing this alone. They kept saying that I am, I have my spiritual team with me, that I have my spirit guide with me, all the self help book. And if you watch Bashar, if you watch Abraham Hicks, they probably say all the same thing. You're never alone. You never have to do life alone. You always have a guide with you. Um, and to some extent, I do believe it. But when you're going through, or when you don't feel, or when you don't see any kind of evidence of that support, it's quite hard, especially when you are feeling extremely disconnected from faith, from believing that positive things can happen to you when you're in that spiral. And I feel like that feeling of utterly alone doesn't, like, I don't pay attention to that feeling much, but 2024 was the year where I really feel it, where I really feel the utter aloneness, where I really felt like had been abandoned, I had been neglected, purposely abandoned. And it felt very malicious, not from the God perspective, but also from like my own situation, that what I was going through in my personal life. So it really felt, and I was angry. So the only people that I can lash out to, well, they're not people. Like the only entities I can lash out to are these spiritual guides, or this heaven, or this God, this universe. And if you guys are an atheist, you're probably like, "Oh, she's crazy. You probably should stop watching now." But it's just, I guess, a way for my mind to cope, because it's easier to have like a entity out here to talk, right? Because that's the way your brain works anyway. When, for example, like if you see a cleaning robot or something and it just looks like a dome, like a garbage bin, and with a dome, there is an experiment that people started treating it like a pet and started talking to it as like a pet, like, come here, oh, hello, how are you, like, try, like, actually treating it as if that it is a human, or at least a living being. So it's just like your way of dealing with things, like how your brain makes sense with about the world. um so if you're an atheist, that's probably a way to kind of navigate that word, if you want to, so that it's easier for your brain to understand. Because I'm not trying to shove my belief onto you and try to make what I believe to be true, or how I see it to be true for you. It's just like what I went through. So the feeling that I really feeling intensely was that feeling of abandonment, feeling of isolation. And I feel the helplessness was probably extremely painful, because suddenly I realized like I have nobody. Like, of course, they're always going to be positive about being alone. Like, after a while, I bounce back. And even though I'm still having the same issues, I wasn't in the same state of being. So it's a different state of being right now. But back then, I just felt like, wow. And I didn't even feel like I would wanted to be unalive, for example. I didn't even feel that. It's just an experience that I never really felt before. It was that clarity of the experience of isolation, the experience of being being alone. Like, the image probably is just me and then darkness. So it's just like this, but you can't see anything. Like right now, you probably still can see this wall, but the one that I was experiencing is filled just like me, and then utter blackness. And then there is no way out. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. I wasn't probably in a tunnel, you know? And that experience was intense. It was uncomfortable. It was as if that the world has gone away and there was no point in moving forward anymore. There was no point of keeping on going, and there was that feeling of what now? I don't know what to do, because even if I know what to do, I don't have anyone to help me with it. So what am I going to do? And especially like, like that feeling when you realize like even people who trying to help can't help. So that was also extremely isolating, that realization that I can't even rely on people that probably had good intention, even though we're not close, even though we are not intimate, or even like I use the word intimate in a cozy, innocent way, by the way, not like in a romantic way. And I felt like, but I didn't feel like it was empty. It didn't feel like an empty experience. It just felt like the whole universe is dark, is black, and there's only me existing. And that was the experience. And it just kept repeating a few times. And I was glad when emotions started to come in, like anger, a lot of anger towards God or towards the universe, a lot of anger and yapping towards the ceiling, basically saying, "You said that there is always going to be people from like spirit guides or guides around me. Where are they? I can't feel them. Can you just give me proof that they are here?" I don't know if I've seen any proof, to be honest. I don't think so. So that didn't work. But maybe like they did answer my demand by having that feeling of something snapped near the end of near the end of 2024. Maybe that was maybe that was the solution that they gave me, or maybe a gift that they gave me, that snapping experience of like distancing myself emotionally from the problem, or whatever problem I was going through, that I'm still going through. um because emotional distance is definitely a good gift for someone who is too dysregulated every time uncomfortable emotions starting to bubble up. So I guess like the experience was intense, because like especially I was still vlogging here on YouTube as well, and that feeling, even though people are interacting with my videos, it didn't really affect my inner world as if that I was abandoned as much. And I think it can be seen from the result as well. Like it peaked in June, like viewership, watch hours, and then it just slowly tanked through December, because I think I basically dissociated most of the time, and I didn't really want to back out from my commitment from vlogging. So that's probably a bad thing. I probably should have taken maybe a 2 weeks break, and or a month break, by lining up like videos so that at least there will be something to watch. But for me personally, I would have taken like personal time. But when you're feeling emotional and dysregulated, you don't think clearly. You don't really know how to navigate forward. And then you're surrounded, and I feel like I keep attracting people who are narcissistic. And even till this day, I still don't know how to manage this relationship without obvious distancing from them, which is a shame because it's not like I don't experience positive experiences when I'm with them, but I knew like I can't do it frequently because it takes too much out of me and I needed to take care of myself. So that's still an ongoing issues that I have to deal with. But yeah, so today will be a short video. I just want to share with you my experience of being isolated and feeling lonely. I know it's very metaphoric, I guess. It's not as realistic or practical, but I guess like my way out was just to keep at it and keep screaming at the ceiling. It took probably about 4 weeks for it to change. And eventually you going to leave out from that space. My issue was that I was suppressing a lot of my thoughts and my emotions, and 2024 was the year where I just kind of express it out loud, even if it's just to an empty room. And I think that what makes it shift, because just because if you speak it out loud, your brain picks it up, your ears are still working, so you are still a person. You're also an observer and a participator of your life. So you're a person, so you listen to yourself. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. My name is Valorine. I'm a solo creator here on YouTube and also on the internet. Check out my links in the description box below. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.